Where did the Magi come from? Persia, Arabia, or Ethiopia? Today we follow converging lines of evidence, biblical texts that foreshadow distant kings bringing tribute, the incense and gold trade linking Sheba to the Horn of Africa, classical writers who credited Ethiopia with ancient star knowledge, and the Ge'ez manuscripts that preserve some of the world's earliest astronomical traditions. Together, these strands form a coherent case for why a Sabaean Ethiopian origin for the Magi is historically plausible and strongly supported. Imagine a single star drawing Magi, wise men, across deserts, caravans of camels heavy with gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and an ancient kingdom whose scribes kept books of the heavens alive for centuries. Over the next minutes, you will hear an evidence-driven, tightly connected argument. Scripture, archaeology, classical testimony, and manuscript preservation, showing why the Magi tradition plausibly reaches into the Sabaean Ethiopian world. Now, when Jesus was born in Bethlehem, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, "We have seen his star in the east and come to worship him." And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. Matthew 2:1-2:11. Those three details matter: professional sky readers, a guiding star, and the three named gifts. Read beside Matthew are two prophetic texts that later interpreters treated as foreshadowing his narrative. Isaiah declares, "They shall come from Sheba, they shall bring gold and incense," Isaiah 66. Psalm 72 proclaims, "The kings of Sheba and Saba shall offer gifts. All kings shall fall down before him," Psalm 72, 10-11. Put together, prophecy imagines distant caravans and royal tribute, and Matthew stages a scene that fits that template. Foreign delegations bearing aromatic resins and precious metals in homage to a Davidic ruler. Zephaniah adds a further prophetic note that explicitly names the southern peoples and their devotional role. Zephaniah 3:10 states, "From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants, even the daughter of my dispersed shall bring mine offering." This verse identifies worshippers from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, Hebrew, Cush, as bringing offerings to God, language that complements Isaiah's Sheba and Psalm 72 feats kings by extending the prophetic horizon to the Cushite Ethiopian world. Read together. These prophetic lines not only foreshadow foreign tribute in general, but specifically include the southern Red Sea and Horn regions among the peoples envisioned as bringing homage and offerings, strengthening the textual foundation for a Sabaean Ethiopian reading of the Magi tradition. That textual resonance is the first strand of evidence. The second is concrete material and geography. Frankincense and myrrh are botanical resins produced in a clearly defined southern belt, Boswellia sacra in southern Arabia, Dhofar, Yemen, and Boswellia papyrifera and commiphora species in the Horn of Africa, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia. Archaeology supports this. Sabaean sites, Marib, Shabwa, and Red Sea ports reveal infrastructure. For resin export, excavations at Adulis document a long-distance entrepot linking interior Africa, and the Red Sea to Mediterranean trade and scientific residue studies, GCMS, and biomarker analysis have identified frankincense and myrrh markers in ancient containers and ritual contexts. Gold likewise has African sources, Nubia and parts of the Ethiopian highlands, and archaeological mining, metallurgical, debris and geochemical provenance studies demonstrate channels by which African gold entered wider ancient markets. In short, Matthew's specific list, gold, frankincense, myrrh, matches the production and trade footprint of the Sabaean Horn corridor rather than being a generic luxury inventory. The third strand is identity and reputation. Matthew calls the visitors Magi, professional interpreters of celestial signs. In the wider Mediterranean, classical literature repeatedly associates Ethiopia with sacred learning and star lore. Homer's phrase for the blameless Ethiopians places Ethiopia in an exalted poetic geography. Lucian of Samosata records a pointed reputation. It was the Ethiopians that first delivered this doctrine unto men, the science of the stars. Herodotus treats Ethiopian customs and antiquity with marvel and respect. Diodorus Siculus preserves traditions that at times cast Egyptians as influenced by, or even derived from Ethiopians, with mythic figures like Osiris appearing in those origin narratives. Claims that, whether contested, nonetheless record a stream of thought that places Ethiopia in the ancestry of religious arts. Geographers and myth-makers such as Strabo and Aratus transpose Ethiopian names into the heavens, remembering Cepheus, Cassiopeia and Andromeda as Ethiopian royals. When antiquity asked where deep star knowledge might come from, Ethiopia repeatedly appears among the answers. The fourth strand converts reputation into documentary continuity, Ethiopia's Ge'ez manuscript tradition. Monasteries and scriptoria in the Horn preserved extensive codices, apocalyptic and astronomical texts, including versions of the astronomical book of 1 Enoch that survive in Ge'ez, where Greek or Hebrew witnesses do not. Major libraries around the world now hold these Ethiopic manuscripts. The sustained copying, calendrical treatises, and astronomical material demonstrate that Ethiopia did not merely inspire foreign myth, it actively conserved and interpreted celestial lore over centuries. A living manuscript culture is powerful evidence that interpretive communities in the Horn read the sky, calculated calendars, and transmitted technical astronomical knowledge. Now consider how these four strands interlock. The prophetic texts name Sheba and caravan tribute. The commodities Matthew lists are precisely those produced and trafficked by the southern Arabian Horn trade system. Archaeological and scientific work documents production. Zones, ports, caravan routes and residue identifications. Classical testimony situates Ethiopia as a centre of star knowledge, and Ge'ez manuscripts show sustained local expertise in astronomical and apocalyptic writing. Each line supports the other. Commodity evidence makes the prophetic words materially plausible, classical reputation makes the Magi as star-wise plausible. Manuscript continuity shows a living tradition that could have produced star interpreters. Together, they form a cumulative and historically grounded case that at least some strands of the Magi tradition plausibly originate within a Sabaean Ethiopian horizon. Reception history and visual culture amplify the connection. From the medieval period, Christian art frequently depicts one magus as dark-skinned, a symbolic inclusion of Africa among the world's nations, paying homage. Ethiopian liturgy and chronicles integrate Old Testament prophecy with local history in ways that place Ethiopia within salvation memory. European legends, such as Prester John, circulated an image of a powerful Christian sovereign in Africa, making Ethiopia a natural fit for audiences looking to map prophecy onto world geography. These receptions did not fabricate the link so much as transmit and magnify a long-standing resonance between southern tribute imagery and honoured foreign visitors arriving at the Nativity. Matthew does not say Ethiopia, he says from the east, and Magi also has strong historical ties to priestly and astrological traditions in the Persian world. This argument does not deny that evidence. Rather, it offers a cumulative, positive alternative, prophecy, Isaiah 66, Psalm 72, 10-11, the exact commodities and their archaeological signatures, the classical attestations of Ethiopian star knowledge, Homer, Lucian, Herodotus, Diodorus, Strabo, Aratus, and the archival survival of Ethiopic astronomical manuscripts, together create a robust interpretive case for reading part of the Magi tradition through a Sabaean Ethiopian lens. If you want to verify primary sources, begin here: Matthew 2, 1-2, 11, Isaiah 66, Psalm 72, 10-11, Zephaniah 3:10. For classical testimony, consult Homer's reference to the blameless Ethiopians. Lucian's statement about Ethiopian star learning, Herodotus's ethnography. Diodorus's recorded traditions about Egyptian-Ethiopian origin narratives, and Strabo and Aratus for mythic constellational associations. For archaeological and scientific evidence, see excavation reports for Adulis and Axum. Neville Chittick, Stuart Munro Hay, Studies of Sabaean Archaeology and Frankincense, Trade, Paul Yule and others, Residue Analyses Identifying Frankincense Myrrh, GCMs, Studies and Archaeometallurgy, reports using lead isotope provenance for African gold. For manuscript work, consult catalogues of Ethiopic codices in the British Library, the Bodleian, the John, Rylands, Cambridge and Manchester collections, especially entries for the astronomical book of 1 Enoch. Now decide for yourself. Compare this cumulative Sabaean Ethiopian case with the Persian Magi hypothesis. Weigh the prophetic foreshadowing, the commodity and trade evidence, the classical attestations of star knowledge, and the surviving Ge'ez manuscripts. Which chain convinces you most? Tell us in the comments which piece of evidence persuaded you: the prophetic, match, the trade geography, the classical testimony, or the manuscript record, and we will follow up with an annotated source pack and manuscript images for those who want to examine the evidence firsthand. Keep looking up, and keep asking where our stories of the stars begin